Yeah, I'm going to pretend this video is spontaneous, but I actually have my computer here to help me with my notes written on it. So today I wanted to share an experience I did last year with my friend Theo. We kinda sneaked into an Erasmus group, even if we were not Erasmus. Actually, we are not even students, but we did anyway, and it was, well, first of all, it was extremely fun. But I also want to talk about the things I less liked in this experience. And also, obviously, I want to share how you can sneak into almost any Erasmus group, because it's kinda easy to do and definitely worth it. So basically, why all of this happened? I mean, why did I go to Italy and why did I go to Rimini? Because, I mean, maybe you had heard about this city before, but it's not the most famous. So why Rimini? Well, at first, I was with my friend Theo and we were like, hey, we don't have anything to do next year. Well, now it's last year, but at this time it was next year. And we're like, hey, let's go to Italy with almost no money and find a job and find a flat and make friends and live our best life. So that was, actually I think it was a fucking good idea. And first we did a hitchhike from Toulouse to Genova. We did some trip without money. When we arrived in Italy, well, Theo actually he barely spoke Italian at this time. He started to speak Italian maybe 2 weeks before. So we were like, hey, we need maybe some time to adapt to Italy and for him to practice a little bit so he could get a bit more fluent.
Sur c'est
Sopra.
Sopra comment ça dit le canapé?
Le sofa.
Sopra il sofa per 5 giorni.
At first we wanted to go to Florence to do our project, because Florence, like, good city. But we were like, we need to do something to adapt to Italy, and through the website Workaway we did find volunteering in a hostel in Rimini. So we went to Rimini, we did work in the hostel, and actually Theo was very impressive. He adapted to Italian like so fast.
Stiamo facendo una spaghetti alla carbonara.
He spoke Spanish before, so it helped, but that was insane to see how fast he was progressing. And so while we were in this hostel, we met a guy who was looking for roommates, and we were like, well, we are meeting some cool people here, and I mean, it was so easy to go to this flat, so we said yes. And if you want to know more about this part of the experience, you can simply check other videos I did. I did some vlogs about this. I don't want to go in detail. Also about the job hunt. It was a bit boring and not interesting. But everything is detailed in the other videos. Well, I don't think they are the best I did, but you can still watch them. I mean, they are still entertaining, and if you want to know more about traveling without money, blah 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 blah, good information in there. But the topic I wanted to discuss here is Erasmus. Yes, and how did we get into this without being from the network and without being students? What happened is that the hostel we were working with was also hosting Erasmus parties. So, first Erasmus party I did was as a waiter. That was cool, and I met a few people, and in the same time the hostel was also hosting a lot of students were living at the hostel, and as we were working there we started to make friends simply. So this way we got a bit aware of everything that was happening into the Erasmus group, and we sticked into a lot of events. They were organizing like volleyball on the beach, some picnics, some beer pong events, some salsa bachata classes, and no, actually a lot of those activities were free. They were also organizing trips that were a bit more expensive. I didn't do that, but the small events they were organizing in Rimini was kind of good, and it was a great way to meet people. The best was hiking, because you really had time to discuss with people. You had a lot of people who are open to traveling, who are really open-minded, and who want to socialize, so that was a good window for us to meet and to bond. What I'd like to add is that, well, if you want to do it in any city in the world, it's actually quite easy. In Rimini we had this job opportunity that led us to the Erasmus group, but you can actually get into any WhatsApp conversation, any WhatsApp Erasmus conversation if you just go to... What I do is that I usually go on Instagram, I write down ESN or Erasmus and the name of my target city. So for example now I did it with ESN Paris. And then you often have a link tree that leads you to some WhatsApp conversations, or you simply have the updates, the stories on Instagram that tells you, oh, we do this event at this time, and you just have to go. And in general, even if you're not Erasmus, you can participate. I mean, people are open to meet people, whether you're here as a traveler or here as a local. Maybe the best part in living in Rimini was when we got our flat. We could organize with still a lot of dinners and we could invite a lot of people, so we could get to actually be friends.
Do it again, do it again.
C'est toi je t'aime. Non. C'est toi que je t'aime. C'est toi que je t'aime. Oui. Oui. Oui, Calibé. C'est toi que t'aime.
One of the advantages of Rimini is that it was a small city, so going from a flat to another was kind of easy. We didn't have a long time to walk and it was kind of natural. So that's the good part of smaller cities. And in addition to that, when you organize dinners at people's place, you can really share some cultural stuff. We did some Polish pierogi with some Polish friends. We had also food from all over the world. It was really great.
Yeah, is it to introduce?
And this is the best chicken in the world with the best mushroom sausage from the Hungary and the best rice. It's basmati.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And when we hosted some events, we could also share some stuff from the French culture, even if it was not always the best. I think the best thing we shared was Jean Guile. If you don't know what Jean Guile is, it's normal because it's a fictional party that comes from a TV show named La Flamme. And we were thinking that it would be fun to make this party real, so we organized Jean Guile in Rimini, and maybe we should tell people that it was not a real thing. I mean, some people know now, but I think that some of the people who appear in the video I did still don't know. Anyway, that was a lot of very, very fun moments, and the thing is that despite the fun part and all the meetings, I felt a bit frustrated because I was in Italy, but I was barely speaking Italian because I was mostly talking with international people, so we were mostly speaking English. I was missing contacts with Italy, and in addition to that, Rimini is a good city. It's an alive city during summer, but during winter, fuck, it was dead. So what should I do? I had to move my ass to go meet locals. How do you do that? For my part, I did use couchsurfing and I got into a language exchange group, so there were a lot of Italians there. We went on some hikes, so it was a good first step to meet people. And still with couchsurfing, I then met two persons. I hosted a guy who was biking from Paris to Jerusalem, and I met a woman who was she was a 40 years old Moldavian woman. She hitchhiked all over the world, even in all the 5 continents. I mean, she was a very, very, very highly skilled traveler, hitchhiker, and those guys gave me motivation to travel again. So I went back to hitchhiking, and when you hitchhike in Italy while speaking Italian, it works extremely well, and Italians tend to be very enthusiastic when they see a foreigner speaking their language. So for this I was really, really well surprised. And after traveling a bit around in Italy, every time I went back to Rimini, actually I was really happy because I was balancing with going to my in-comfort zone, like traveling, speaking Italian, not really knowing where I would sleep at night, and then coming back to see my friends, and it would be regenerative. Yeah, with these Erasmus friends we did a lot of cool stuff. We celebrated Christmas together. It was a really good occasion to have more deep conversations, so I really enjoyed it. When it was finally time to leave, well, a part of me was happy to leave because it meant going back to the road, starting new adventures. But I must admit that it felt a bit sad to say goodbye to all of these great people. And to sum up a bit this experience I had, I would say that after that I sneaked into several Erasmus groups, so in Rimini but in other cities. I mean, I'm doing it now in Paris. I saw many times the same behavior. I think that a lot of them are kind of natural, it's part of human nature, but people tend to socialize with people who have similar background, similar cultural background. I mean, of course, at first people will stick with people from their country because of the language. It's comfortable. I mean, you just get to a new country, everything is new for you, so it feels comfortable to have some familiarity. So whether it's with the language, but also with the cultural references. And many times I saw like Spaniards staying together, Italians staying together, French people staying together. I mean, in the Latin country we are not that good with foreign languages, so maybe there is this tendency. But you can easily see, I mean, Germans and Nordics sticking together. The Slavics often stay together. I mean, you can follow me, follow the idea. It's really common to see that, and I think that it's normal for the first stage. But after that, and this is why it's great to have Erasmus and all these events, these little groups are easily getting mixed together, because you go to beer pong together, and you go to party together or hiking together, and this way you can go behind this first group. So this is where you get this great Erasmus experience, because you can meet people from really all over the world. And I mean, I'm not going to repeat everything I said during this video, but for the food, the language, or the friendships, that's just great. And I just want to add that to really have a great experience, it's important to move your ass, to have really contact with the locals, and it really relies upon your own will to go really explore the place you are, because you cannot really fall in love with the country you're in if you don't go talk with the people, try to do stuff really typical. And I think that the most important is really to bond with local people. I must say that what really made me love Italy is that I met great Italian people, and I didn't really meet a lot of Italian people through Erasmus. So once you have this maybe comfort bubble made, it's important to go out and do any stuff. I mean, you can go to language exchange, maybe find a job, hitchhike, of course, take classes of art classes, sport classes, dance classes, or just go to random events like karaoke are kind of good. You can also discover plenty of songs from the countries. So I'd say that all of this extra stuff you can do with locals is the great stuff to have an amazing adventures. And of course, speaking the local language is great. It's depending on the country, it's very useful. I mean, once again, in the Latin countries, France, Spain, Italy, it's very important to speak the local language, because I mean, they could do efforts too with English. But I'd like to add that in any country you go, it's great and very flattering to know a few words of the local language. Even if you go, for example, to Norway or Denmark, or I mean, any country where people speak very, very good English, because when you speak a few words of their language, they feel proud, you know, they feel like you're talking to their heart. So it's a good way to socialize. But most important is really to enjoy the relationships you build with people, whatever the culture is. And even if it's from your country, I mean, doesn't mean it's bad. what was really great with this Erasmus is that I made friends that I saw again in France, but also friends that I saw again in Belgium, in Germany, even in Poland. Yeah, that's definitely great to have to meet people like this, and it really led to great experiences. I mean, we even did like 4 or 5 months later, after leaving Rimini, I was with 2 friends of Rimini and Deo doing a hitchhiking competition going from Krakow to Italy. So yeah, that was great. I mean, if you have opportunity to go on some trips like this to make friends, that's good. I think Erasmus was a good way to meet open-minded people who are ready to go on some adventures, and it definitely created a lot of amazing memories in my mind. And I definitely wish you to have plenty if you try the experience. Thanks for watching this video, I really hope that you liked it. If you want to see more content like this, you can subscribe to the channel. Well, more content like this, I must precise that the next content will be more about hitchhiking, but it's also definitely worth it, I can guarantee you. And if you have some nice experience with Erasmus or funny stories, I mean, I don't care about your nice experience, I want the funny stories. If you have funny stories about Erasmus, use the comment section to talk about it. And yeah, I want to laugh. I'm really curious about what you might have to share, so feel free to share your stories. And to thank you for staying that long, because I talk too much, here's a little bonus lesson for the most important vocab in the Norwegian language.
Niente.
Jente.
Niente.
Du en nydelig jente.
Du en nydelig jente.
Yes!
Du en nydelig jente.
Du en
Hi YouTube, du en nydelig jente.
Oh, so charming.